You don't stop to the beat, y'all. You don't stop. You know, when the song started out like that, it was going to be something hype. Welcome back, everyone, everybody. I would like to welcome you guys out to another episode. Yes, another episode of the heDONizm podcast. This is episode 10. We're in the double digits, so we're rolling. This episode is also known as X. 10X. We're here. Thank you. And with that being said, if you don't know who I am, I'm Dante, also known as Mecca Don the Don Mecca. Some may call me Tay. Some may call me Don. Some may even call me Rick James. Why? Because I'm cold-blooded. Some may even know me as ref. Some may even know me as coach during this time of the season. But if you know, you do know. Hey guys, we're in the age of cancel culture, judged by the court of public opinion, and I'll be careful with my words, but just in case I drop a noun, an adjective, a pronoun, or even an expletive, you guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. And in true heDONizm fashion, I always like to start out with gratitude because I am so grateful for you guys and your continuing support of this podcast. This thing is not easy. But if I just get one view, right, one like, I know I've done my job, right? It can sometimes be an uphill battle when you're in the space of creating content. So I choose to deliver content that can inspire, entertain, of course, but that can transform, but most importantly, disrupt thought during your viewing pleasure and also your listening pleasure, right? So I'm always grateful for you guys. Please don't think that I am not grateful for you guys. You guys help keep me going. And just when I think, man, am I really making progress? I'll get that call, right? Or I'll get that text that says, hey, yo, dope. Or, hey, yo, informative. Or, hey, yo, enlightening. So I got to keep this thing going. It's something that I set out to do. It was a goal. It was a I shall. It was I will. So now I'm executing that thing. Also, in keeping with true gratitude form in the heDONizm podcast, let me just say, hey, yo, I am so grateful for the WNBA. If you guys are not watching the WNBA right now, we're in the finals. Game 1 is done. It's in the books. And just in case you didn't know, we got number 1, Las Vegas Aces versus the number 2, New York Liberty. And these ladies can ball. Let me just call it like a TI is. These ladies are balling out the gym, and it looks, it feels, and it appears to be different than what it used to be in the past. If you watch game 1, you'll notice that there was not an empty seat in the house, right? It was out in Vegas. It was out in the desert. But yet, if you look in the seating, everyone was out of their seat. People were high-fiving each other. I mean, it was beyond me to see. Now, I've watched some games during the season, and I won't say they were lackluster, but I will say that it has picked up tremendously from where it was in the beginning of the WNBA days and some of the televised games where you saw some of the empty seats. Now, it's a whole different game. So I encourage you to get in the bag and also join in and watch this WNBA finals, guys. Game 2 will be tonight at the launch of this pod. It will be Wednesday night tonight. That's tonight. That's the drop of the heDONizm podcast. And just so you guys know the cadence and the drops, they are each Wednesday at 11:11 a.m. Eastern time. So lock it in and throw the keyboard away. But back to the Aces. You got Candace Parker, right? Sports analyst, model, and of course, player. She's coming in at about 6'4", balling. However, Candace is nursing an ankle right now, right? So she's not playing, but her contributions throughout the season has helped the team catapult to where they are right now, game 1 of the finals. Then you got Chelsea Gray, 5'11". She's the guard. She will cross you over. She'll come down court. She'll make you look absolutely foolish if you try to check her and you're not on your defensive game. She will do you. But I'm going to tell you this, although she is a guard, she plays like Draymond Green. I mean, she comes with the energy, and I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to player coach, when it comes to team assistant, when it comes to team facilitator, she's that one. I'm telling you, she's the one that gets the team hype. She's the one that's giving you the animations on the court, right? Coming into the gym. She's the one on the field encouraging the team when they get down. it's much watch basketball. I'm hyped simply because the WNBA, who's ever over putting more cameras in the face of these ladies, shout out to you guys, because we need to see more on and off the court of what we're seeing, and also enlighten us of some of the things where we can become more supporting features like we do the NBA. The WNBA ladies should be getting paid way more than what they do. So that's why I'm using this platform to say I'm grateful for you guys in the WNBA. And please continue to ball out, and we will continue to support you guys in this elevation of the new face, or the new way the game is being displayed. But let me also call out one other individual, because she's her. You guys know who she is. Jackie Young. She's number 0 for the Aces also. She was the number 1 draft pick. But let me just tell you something. She's her. She's doing the doggone thing. I mean, like, she is in her total bag when it comes to layups, when it comes to ISOs, when it comes to, I mean, I even saw these ladies well execute the triangle offense, right? They went in, they went out of it, and they still run the fundamental offense. And I just don't think other teams are picking up that they are doing like a 2-1-2 with somebody running the flat, or someone just moving consistently. But I'm gonna tell you guys, it's must watch basketball, and I'll say it again, the WNBA looks, feels, and appear to be different. If you don't believe me, just watch. Also, guys, I'm so ever grateful for this fall weather that we have, right? In greater Atlanta, we had a high last week, and this week should be a high somewhere around 78 degrees, but will go as low as the 40s. And let me just say this, in greater Atlanta, all it needs to do is drop below 65, and people are breaking out the falls and the bubble vest out in Atlanta. It's something to see. But you guys know, when you're dealing with hot Atlanta, old school term, right? Then when we get a breeze or a cup of ice drops on the ground, we got to break out the scullies, we got to break out the gloves, the scarves, and everything else, just to be extra dramatic, because we don't get to wear those coats as often as some of the others. But nonetheless, great weather for mixed attire outdoors. If you're an all year shorts person like me, if you like to get out and get around those elements and get a brisk walk in, I just encourage you guys to get out. But this weekend, it was entirely too nice to be in the house. And for those of you that are complaining, I'm sure you Northerners are going, hey, yo, it's been averaging in the 50s and 40s here. And also for those in the South and also out West who may be complaining, let's just be careful about complaining. Why? Because over in Afghanistan, right, they just were hit with a major earthquake that claimed nearly 2,000 lives. So before we say, hey, I'm in the heat, or it's too cold, I'm going to put on a jacket, just get out and feel and breathe in the natural elements, because after all, weather conditions could be the adverse effect of us being able to enjoy them. Hey, did you guys know that yet again, in our 3 branches of government, right, your executive, your legislative, and your judicial, we made history again? Now, you remember old Don Teasy and the boys and the crew? I'm sorry, it wasn't just the boys, it was everybody, right? They did a whole rollout. They did a whole Death Row album release cover, if you will, with all the mugshots, right? Which they're using to their advantage for their campaign. But did you guys realize yet again, we've made history, the first time in U.S. history? Where the speakers at? Y'all want house? Where the speakers at? House music all night long? Say what? Where the speakers at? Y'all got them up out of here. What am I talking about? The Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives was ousted from his job by his homies. What am I saying? Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, a hard right Republican, was ousted by his own people. Now, what's the hook? What's with the, hey, you got to go? Well, he was in agreement with the vote to keep the government from shutting down. And the Republican Party said, no, we're not having that. You out of here. Peace. Pack your bags. You're gone. Okay, well, I'll show you. Well, they showed him. But yet again, we're making history. And right now we're representative-less. We don't have a House of Representatives right now. We don't have a Speaker of the House. I'm sorry. Pardon me. We don't have a Speaker of the House right now. The position is still vacant. So I'm going to say it again for the cheap seats out there. And I mean business. Do your research, right? Don't wait for the elections to come up and you just run to the polls saying, yes, I got to vote. Nah, the voting starts today. Like, do your research, follow up, okay? Read the newspaper or read articles that pertains to start with your local elections. First, go to vote.gov and verify that you are actually registered. I told you guys about the purge fugazi that happened here in Georgia way back when, right? Between Governor Kemp and the dispute with him and Stacey Abrams and that whole clash. But yet in the discoveries, it was identified that a lot of registered voters were purged from the system. Again, go to vote.gov and verify that you are in the system and eligible to vote. All right, let's move on. So I told you guys about bad TV and all of those things that are to come. Well, you may have saw a spike recently in reality TV from the Love and Hip Hop franchises. More specific, remember we covered that last week. It's pronounced specific, not Pacific. We clear on that? But more specifically, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Love and Hip Hop in general is a reality-based show that premiered back on March 6, 2011. Nearly 250 cast members are associated with this franchise. Just to name a few: Jim Jones, Cardi B, Ray J, Remy Ma and Papoose, Young Jock, Lil Scrappy, Rashida, Trick and Trina, and these are just to name a few. But the Love and Hip Hop reality show gave us insight to hip hop and also management. It gave us insight to DJs, radio personalities, promotion, crew, street teamers, you name it, that had anything to do with hip hop, either stage level or behind the stage, or even management or producers. Again, I'm repeating myself, but you guys get it. It displayed those on and off the stage. But the actual Love and Hip Hop franchise was a derivative. You guys remember Jim Jones from Dipset. That's my joint. But anyway, y'all remember Jim Jones, right? And Chrissy, right? They actually, let's just say this, they were the originators of the hip hop aspect of a reality show. They had a show called Keeping Up with the Joneses, and this was back in 2006. Okay. And Jim Jones' manager at the time was, you guys remember Chrissy, Jim Jones, and Mama Jones, right? Well, Jim Jones' manager, or the person who was managing his hip hop affairs during that time, was Yandy. Yandy and Mona Scott had ties with the Violator record label, okay? But they was also making moves in the TV space. So Yandy and Mona Scott Young decided to, hey, let's put this thing in a salad. You know Yandy, she's always business-minded and forward-thinking. Shout out to you, Yandy. When it comes to progress in this hip-hop space, but not only stage present wise, but being behind the scenes and pushing product forward. That's just Yandy's bag, just in case no one ever knew. She's actually a mover and a shaker. That's why you kind of see her a lot. She's kind of important to this thing called hip hop when it comes from the New York base, some of the behind the scenes, and also some of the artists. I know Jim Jones is one. She also has some ties with some others, and I'm drawing a blank right now, but that's her business. But nonetheless, because of Yandy, she puts the product. She started talking to Mona Scott Mona Scott Young, my apologies. But she went to Mona Scott Young and said, hey, let's get this thing rolling. And they actually had conversations. Mona Scott Young then took it from there, and it grew legs. And the name ask, some may say, well, didn't Chrissy and Jim Jones start it, or Jim Jones and Chrissy started? Well, they asked Jim Jones, well, what do you think if we keep this thing going? And if I'm not mistaken, at least he said this on Drink Champs, that they threw out the name and said, hey, yo, We've had enough. Let's keep the thing going. Matter of fact, we got some more people we want to put on that'll be quite entertaining. And they threw out the term Love and Hip Hop. It was birthed, and again, it grew legs after that. But the Love and Hip Hop show in general can be quite addictive. And this is the younger days of the show, just because, again, regionally, it invited us to spaces that we never saw before. Kind of like what MTV Cribs did when we got to see inside of the Cash Money Millionaires camp, when we got to see Reggie Noble, aka Redman, aka Redman's house, which was a tragic mess, but yet so entertaining. But yet, because MTV's rolled the cameras, took them in the crib, we had something to talk about. Well, Love and Hip Hop kind of give you the day in the life of those involved with hip hop, and their day in the life in a reality base, if you guys are following what I'm giving you. So the most entertaining part was not, hey, this MC has 5 mics worth of skills, or this DJ has turntablism for days and these guys know how to perform on stage. No, it actually took you inside of the home. And then what drew more attention to viewers were the controversies, the drama, right? And I hate to say it, but reality TVs brings us fights also. And sometimes we're here for the sauce, not the smoke. But it also gave us the day in the life of those that we could find, average, everyday humans that were relatable. You guys get it, right? Well, let's get into it. Recently, I don't know what season they're on. I kind of tuned off, guys. I got to be honest with you. Part of my purge before I even birthed my 0 episode was I was purging from music. I was purging from a lot of people. I was purging from a lot of TV. I was more into books for my source of entertainment. I was into a lot of meditation. You know how you do a detox of the body? Well, I was doing a detox of the mind and what the eyeballs were taking in to digest things. Because if you start to witness certain things, and like my man Denzel said, when you start to practice things, you'll be good at it. So I didn't want to practice social habits of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, yada, yada. You guys get where I'm going, right? But let's get into a dive of something serious that we need to talk about here at the heDONizm podcast. And it was the controversy and altercation between Erica Mena and Spice, right? I'm going to try to do this justice the best way I can, and I'm going off head knowledge and not internet research. Erica Mena was a video vixen, right, for some of your 90s hip hop. And Spice is a dance hall artist. Okay. Now you got your Afro beats that kind of have swallowed the dance hall genre, but it still fits in that dance hall genre some way or another, just because it coordinates with the style of music. However, Afro beats has its own genre. Reggae will always have its own genre, and dance hall was a derivative of reggae, and as I understand, Afro beats as well. Although Afro beats, let me be clear, has their own segment and genre of music, and it's fire. So let's not confuse that. But Erica Mena, video vixen, Spice, dance hall artist. So again, I gave you the soliloquy earlier about what love and hip hop bring, right? It's not always a rapper, a graph writer, a DJ, an MC, or someone of that nature, right? And we think about some of the elements of hip hop, but yet we got a video vixen from maybe some hip hop videos. And then we have a dance hall artist that may be derivatives of dancing from hip hop. But nonetheless, they marry each other. You guys got where I'm going, right? Cool. In the final episode of the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta franchise, and let me just go back 1 second and just put a point of reference just to pull you guys up to speed in this deep dive. The Love and Hip Hop franchise birthed, it came from the New York franchise, and then it birthed the Atlanta. It went to Hollywood, then it came back and had a Miami baby also. So I just wanted to make sure we're clear on that. In this particular conversation and context, we're talking about Love and Hip Hop ATL. Now, the final episode of the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season concluded with a round table discussion that was moderated by Dr. Sarah L. Webb. Some of the people at the table were Scrappy, Jock, formerly known as Young Jock, Yandy. Can't remember the other individual's name, but Amy, from Amy and Mozzie. Amy's now single, Mozzie's single. Good couple. I was hoping that they would fight that thing out. They really had some true black love. As a matter of fact, they were selling merch called Black Love, from what I understand. Or maybe there was more Mozzie. But anyway, Amy was on there, and I can't remember the other young lady. She's a entrepreneur, a strong entrepreneur in the hair industry, and I can't remember her name. But nonetheless, Spice was also there in the roundtable discussion moderated by Dr. Sarah Webb. Now, I commend all of those that did join, right? They didn't have to join. Rashida opened up with a dialogue about colorism and also racism, right? But she did state in her lead that she would not be a part of the roundtable discussion. Maybe it was prior commitments. I don't know if she agreed with the ideology of what they were doing. I don't know, right? But nonetheless, Rashida gave an intro about how important it is for this group of individuals to have conversations about colorism and racism, right? But the context behind the controversy was this that led to the roundtable discussion, hence the conclusion of the season with this. And let me just state, it was done with a level of class. I'm saying that because we know that reality shows bring drama, right? So I'm giving them the kudos for the pivot to say that, hey, let's do something different, right? You know, a reunion is probably coming, right? Ratings just calls for it sometime, right? This is usually where you get your dramatic effect in a reality TV business. The lead ups to the reunions, and then you have a part 1 and a part 2, and then the drama unfolds at maybe a 3 if it's spicy and juicy enough, no pun intended, right? But the two ladies, Erica Mena and Spice, had a conversation, and the details are not important of the conversation, right? Because we want to hone in on two things, racism and colorism, okay? But they were ladies just doing what ladies do, and let me be specific again, doing what ladies do in the reality TV space. Whatever the context and general details of what these ladies were discussing is not important in this conversation, right? Dig on your own, or go listen with your gossiping ears, if you will. But follow me in this space, please. The conversation escalated real fast when Spice mentioned or questioned Erica's parenting skills. That's a line step, right? And this was a triggering effect for Erica. Neither of the ladies were willing to talk. Well, Don, you just said they were face-to-face having a conversation. Yelling does not constitute talking, right? That's a whole different verb, right? Yelling, talking, two different things, right? At this point, if nobody's listening, there's just two people giving hot breath at a high volume. That could be quite triggering, because you can't listen with your mouth, right? You have to be able to receive, understand, and respond when good timing is there. And I'm not saying press the clock, let's talk. Some conversations are made to be interrupted. Some comments are made to be corrected. You understand? If someone's just sitting there blabbering to you and you disagree, you can use words like, excuse me, or hey, wait a minute, right? Or if we're about the language, you know, and get that person's attention. But I'm not here to put on a clinic about conversations. This is beyond me. Like, I'm not the SME in conversations, but I'm just giving you context over the two ladies that were not talking. They were yelling at each other, right? To the point of where, if this was a graph chart, this conversation started like this. And then all of a sudden it started to bump up and it started to escalate, if you will. So temperatures were rising, and Erica gets up So you know something's about to pop off. When you stand up or when you posture at somebody you're yelling at, the next thing could be reactionary. Well, guess what? It was. Y'all remember when K. Michelle said, this bleep is flipping it or shaking the table. She's shaking the table. Well, Erica Mena stands up and flips the table. And she flipped it towards Spice. And there's one thing that I left out that I didn't mention. And not sure if you guys are familiar with this individual from the franchise, but her name is Shekinah. Shekinah was there to mediate, if you will, or to bring the two together, or to get in between the two talking, because she know it could possibly escalate. And I'm thinking Shekinah was in the mindset of, hey, do whatever y'all got to do. Just get it out. We don't need to get physical. I feel that she can be somewhat messy, but at the same time, she can be a peacemaker in her own way. Shekinah is known for being a hairstylist to some of the celebrities and stars around the greater Atlanta area. And again, she's a derivative from the Family Hustle reality show with T.I. and Tiny and her crew. She was Tiny's girl. But nonetheless, Shekinah was there to mitigate, if you will, or to mediate Erica and Spice's conversations. But words were being thrown left and right across the table. They went back and forth. And when Erica stood up and flipped the table, security then comes in, right? So we got a Jerry Springer style conversation happening at a public dwelling, that being a restaurant. And here they are cutting up, right? Both of them were yelling. It's the reality TV space. You guys have seen it before. I hope no one is going, oh my gosh. No, don't do that. You know what it is. You guys know what comes with reality shows. And I'm sure the producers was there like, yes, go. Whoa, we don't want that. And that gives me cause to pause, simply because these were some of the things that made me tune off from certain reality shows, because they were full of that, just straight up wonkiness. You know what I mean? Just straight up, this could go left in the New York Minute. You never knew what was going to happen on some of these shows where this just so happened to be that one. Erica stands up, she flips the table, security comes in, and then what does security do? We know this is getting ready to escalate. Okay, we're in a public place. This is good for ratings, but bad for this public settings. It's bad for the franchise, but yet at the same time we get ratings. So right, it's a catch-22. I'm sure this is all speculative, but I am sticking to the facts of what happened, and I'm getting there. Hold tight. Security then holds her back. No punches were thrown at each other, but again, words are still being thrown. Just violating. And then all of a sudden, as security was pulling Erica Mena back, she reaches over in her word bag, a disgusting word bag, and she calls Spice a monkey. Here we go. Then went on further to call her a blue monkey. Now let's just call it what a TI is. That word doesn't sit well with black folks, right? Because it's been used in the past to degrade us. So getting back to the conversation moderated by Dr. Webb, the conversation at hand, which is what I'm speaking of today, was that these comments were both. It was one, racism, and two, colorism. Right? Racism, the determinant of human traits and capacities, and that racial differences produce an inherent superiority of a particular race. Colorism, discrimination within an ethnic group, favoring people with lighter skin. And these are according to Merriam-Webster. Okay, as a result of this altercation, Erica Mena was fired. Now, based on the court of public opinion, right, Erica Mena is now in the seat of cancel culture, being deemed as a racist, right? But according to the Love and Hip Hop, they've sent out all kind of disclaimers. They had things on their social pages saying that, no, she's fired, right? It gave mixed emotions because some people were actually running bail for Erica Mena, saying that, hey, I know her personally, she's not a racist. But when live taping the show, they're not privy to see some of the things that happen. Some of them were just speculating based off of what the socials were trending at. So after seeing some of the tapes, a lot of them came back. They doubled back and said, hey, yo, my bad. There was some straight colorism. Bull jive. We don't stand with that. She violated her in that space, right? That was some racist bull swanky. We don't stand with that, right? I would ask you guys to comment down below, but this is a safe space, right? This is a safe space where your comments can be used against you. I always lead with my court of public opinion, right? But feel free if you so desire. If it's burning and your hands are and your fingertips are itching and you really want to type and say, here's what I think it is. I know about the situation. Or if you decide to pause, go look up the situation and come back, you may have your opinion in that aspect. But I would say this about Erica Mena, right? And also the character, I wouldn't say of Mona Scott Young, but the entire Love and Hip Hop production, directors, executive VPs, all of that. I want to speak to them in general. You guys sometimes light the match, start the fire, and then say it's nothing going on. And you try to fan the flame out. You know, sometimes you contradict your actions by some of the things you show. And I even heard, and these are things that I heard and actually researched about some of the reunions that you guys are serving heavy alcohol behind the scenes as people are getting ready to come out and tape. They already sauced up. What do you expect? What do you expect? I don't know what you do with the temperature in the room, but usually sauce and heat don't mix. People coming on the stage, they already got a vendetta or they already having issues or beef, for lack of a better word, with some of the cast members. So coming to the reunion, it's up. So I don't know if this is Love and Hip Hop going, hey, yo, this will be great for ratings. These two people that hate each other, let's call them to the table. Right, we can show that we're mature enough and we have robust enough security to bring two toxic people to a forum to have a conversation. Sounds like a WWEF, whatever the letters are right now for wrestling, or a UFC match about to happen. I mean, at almost every reunion, don't hold me to it, but I believe at every Love and Hip Hop reunion there has been some disgraceful bull jive at them. But was she fired is my question. And if you know about that, you comment down below. Now, here's why I ask or lead the rhetorical question, is she fired? You know why I say that is because this young lady is known for starting fires on this show. And her, along with some others, caused ratings to go voila. Money, investors, return on investment. So she's known for starting stuff on the show. And if I'm not mistaken, she went from New York to Atlanta. I don't know if she was on a Hollywood set or not, but I think she may have had a cameo. She's good TV for those who are enticed by that level of drama in a reality space. Or was this a PR for some other type of rollout? Is this a way for the Love and Hip Hop franchise to say, this is how we course correct? We've made an example out of someone. Now we're going to show you what we're about. For you Gen Zers out there who may be missing everything of what I'm talking about, let me give you guys some history so you can understand about this term that was used to violate Spice. And let me just say for the record, Spice took accountability in this form that they had. She seemed very wise to this situation and not ignorant. And I'll get back to that in a second. But for you Gen Zers out there who were not even alive to witness this, what I'm about to talk about, some of you old school heads out there may know of this individual that I'm talking about. Yes, I'm talking about Howard Cosell. He was a sportscaster or a commentator for ABC's Worldwide of Sports. Howard Cosell was known for his smooth but yet monotone delivery when calling sports. But it was September 5th, 1983. It was the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team, now known as the Commanders. What a whack name. But there was a player by the name of Alvin Garrett who broke one. I mean, he was on some Barry Sanders type stuff, but he broke one and had a very impressive game. And then Howard Cosell, live on air, is giving commentary during the play and said, "Oh my, that little monkey can get loose, doesn't he?" This is live on air back in the 80s. It was thoughtless of Howard Cosell and disgusting. But there were certain individuals that ran bell for even Howard Cosell in his comments. Why? Because he had great on-air personality and relationships with the great Muhammad Ali. "Hey, Howard, is that a toupee on your head? It made me want to stand up and dance, and it made me want to swing at it. Muhammad, you can say what you want to say, but are you ready for this fight? Howard, I tell you what, I'll go turn the lights off, knock you out, and get back to my seats before it get dark. Muhammad, I understand you are smooth with the gift of gab, but you have a heavyweight bout coming up. Are you prepared, Mr. Muhammad Ali?" Muhammad Ali was one that would get on TV and have a gift of gab. And usually in a sit-down setting between Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell, it gave great autonomy for a love-hate relationship between an athlete and a sportscaster. They were great for TV. People also ran bell, right, for Howard Cosell because Mr. John Carlos and Mr. Tommy Smith from the Olympics that took the stand with the fist raised in the air. Howard Cosell was one to champion some of those times in our historical sports history. But also for you Gen Zers, right? You were alive during this one that I want to remind you of. Just in case you didn't know, go back and research it. But on the same day, different month, different year, May 5th of this year, during a pregame broadcast on NBC, right? Just showing you how sometimes people can not even have a Freudian slip, that some people are just not educated enough. They haven't been taught anything, and they start to say the things that are on their internal mindset. Here's what happened. During the pregame broadcast on NBC on May 5th of this year, it was the Oakland A's versus the Kansas City Royals. The game didn't even start yet, right? And there was a gentleman by the name of Glenn, right, who was talking about his day prior to the game.
We had a phenomenal day today. Nigger League Museum and Arthur Bryant's Barbecue. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. I just wanted to, a little bit earlier in the show, I said something didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to, and I just wanted to apologize if it sounded different than I meant it to be said. And like I said, I just wanted to apologize for that. Laureano is the hitter. He takes a strike.
It's not even funny, man. But he went on to talk about his day, and he was talking. This was a pregame as the season was starting, or the spring season was starting, one of the two. But he was like, "Yeah, we went to the Splat League Museum." Let me say it the correct way, and you guys cipher between what I'm saying. He said, "Yeah, we went to the Negro League Museum." He said, Splat League Museum. And they immediately cut the camera from the two commentators who were sitting there setting up the game and just went to a broad panoramic view of the baseball field. Look it up for yourself. Again, I don't mind being cute about the situation. We went to an Splat League Museum. You know what the irony is here? You were going to the museum to learn about Black history. And the same daggum day, you get on air and I'll say it again for the cheap seats. Yes, have grace. But if someone shows you who they are, but he gets on air and just fumbles with this gibberish. Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips, just a bunch of gibberish. And Mickey Fickies act like they forgot about Tay in the heDONizm podcast. But he just fumbled on the air with straight gibberish. So for you Gen Zers out there who sometimes don't know the importance of why we stand versus falling for anything, these are some of the reasons why. They're not even microaggressions. They're biases. But let me put a lid on this, guys. It's always good to have convos with non-subject matter experts. And in this particular case, you got to hear from everyday, somewhat average people, but yet I could tell that there was some intellectual people that was sitting on that discussion. And at the same time, you saw that people went through extreme measures to educate themselves after they were triggered by this situation that happened. Well, check this out. Erica Mena sent an apology out that was wordsmiths to the dime. It was almost like it was straight written from your best representative of a PR person. To me, it wasn't heartfelt. It was kind of cold, right? But in this public apology via Twitter, let's just say, from her side, it was not directed at Spice. It was just a general statement. Those apologies, you're starting your apology out with check that. But later, Erica was confronted by Yandy. Again, Yandy, if I had to speculate, Yandy and Mona Scott are about to do a changing of the guard. I'm speculating. I don't know. I ain't spoke to nobody. This is just me talking, right? This is a podcast, right? We can be speculative or opinionated, right? This ain't gospel, all right? It's a podcast, right? But I don't want to blow smoke at the same time. But sometimes the eyeball test tells you, or you can actually see when someone's making moves to get into a position and whatnot. But later, Erica was confronted by Yandy. And Yandy was very adamant to go, yo, let me tell you what you may not have known you were saying. It is offensive. But my friend, let me tell you, that ain't right. As Yandy and as animated as I'm trying to reenact how Yandy was speaking to Erica to say, hey, yo, this is coming from a place of care and concern. Please hear me out. You know what Erica's retort was? In the words of Nene Leakes, I said what I said. Yeah. She didn't take it back. She said, I said what I said. And guess what? She even went further and said, I'll say it again. disgusting. And I'm paraphrasing on that. But she pretty much didn't want to come back and go, I said it. It was a slip. I didn't even mean it like that. She had on blue that day and I slipped and said, she didn't even do that. She just went on to say something foolish like, I meant what I said. And I'll say it again if I have to. I understand that she was angry about her parenting skills. In these reality shows, when are they going to learn that there's a fine line or there is no crossing when it comes to kids, and family? They just keep on. But you guys know what it is. Hurt people do what? Y'all know. But I really enjoyed the persuasive yet connection, the eye and the body language from some of the individuals that was at the roundtable. I'm fascinated with things like that. But let me zoom in just a little bit more. And for my listeners out there, small numbers, but some big names. Small numbers, but some big names out there. I'll say this. If you guys know anyone from Yandy's camp or Young Jock camp, and they both live here in Greater Atlanta, I would love to have Yandy here, Young Jock here, and we get into another conversation. Why? Because Young Jock was actually quiet on the set. But when he spoke, he was actually dropping some things. And I was like, I see you, my brother. I see you. I see you, my brother. And Yandy was actually speaking of some other things that I would love to put on a dual oxygen tank and do a deep dive. She was actually referring to how sometimes it's acceptable for the N-word to be used in some communities outside of Black Americans, African Americans, i.e. Latinx community. I want to say she was saying that where she's from, she's Harlem-based, right? Now living in the A, that it's more acceptable up there versus Young Jock's opinion about we don't play that down here. Or maybe it was scrappy, but nonetheless, we had two different vantage points about the usage of N-splat, right? And it was also two great minds of this colorism topic and racism topic. But I would love to talk to those two. So if you guys hear me out there, hello, I'm Dante. This is the heDONizm podcast. And I would love to have you guys come sit down with me and we spread a little love and shed a little light, because I saw some very, 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 very intelligent conversations, and I saw some explosions of creative content, not for likes, not for clickbait, and definitely not for clout, right? But some things that we can actually have a discussion and leave, and also gain viewers to have a level of understanding in a continued roundtable discussion. And Dr. Webb, if you want to come join us, that would be even better. I thought you were dope. But speaking of Young Jock, you want to talk about different facets and levels of colorism? NBA just recently had their media day, right? Y'all know where I'm going. You guys know exactly where I'm going. And I listen to other podcasts because sometimes it's a give and take, right? It's getting to the point now where if I'm not listening to house music, I very rarely, or if I'm not listening to some jazz, or I really get intrigued off of talk radio now. Like, it's my bag, right? Getting in the car, bumping music is not my all-time gig now. My gig now is more so talk radio, great listening. And again, here at the heDONizm podcast, I'm trying to disrupt thought. I'm trying to disrupt your average way of thinking, but yet talk about some of the derivatives of hip hop, but I don't shy away from conversations that we need to have, right? I do have a love aspect. I do believe in spreading love. They said spread love is the Brooklyn way, but how about spread love? It was the Take Six way. Da da. Doom, doom, boom. Spread love. I can't sing. But y'all killed Jimmy Butler on Media Day. Why? Because he had it fried, dyed, and laid to the side. And I'm not saying he had a perm. He could have had a hot comb. Ladies, we paid attention to y'all back in the day. Them hot combs that used to sit on the eye. They used to sit on the eye. And you put a little Afro sheen out of the green bottle or that crown with the aluminum top. You put it in that young lady's hair. And when you put that hot comb on it, it sounded like something was frying. Yeah, we remember the house used to smell like burnt hair. But that hair was so laid. And Jimmy's was laid too. But y'all killed him. Y'all killed him out there in Twitter. You guys were going ham on him. But what you guys don't realize is Jimmy's, he's for the smoke, right? On Media Day, he always brings that it factor. What does he do? A couple of years ago, he had dreads almost down his back, right? He'll do some funky updo. He'll give you something. But in this particular case, I want to say he had a nail painted or nails painted, or it could have been embellished from some graphic artist. But I did see the hair was laid. My man had the hair laid. He had the lip ring in, and I want to say he had a nose ring or something to that effect. But according to Jimmy, Media Day is like his costume get up, right? He has fun with it. This is what the man said. He just has fun with it. But please believe, come week 1, game 1, the boy's balling, right? He's out there doing the do. And he'll do you in the court. Matter of fact, Miami was this close to that thing last year. You know, shout out to Dame over MKE, right? With Giannis. You know, they're gonna do something. But y'all killed Jimmy Butler on Media Day. You know what else? Y'all killed Jock. You know, y'all killed Jock. Also, y'all remember when Jock had it fried and laid? Y'all remember that? Y'all also killed Dre 3 Stacks. In the Hey Ya video, y'all killed him. What is this dude doing? Y'all killed him. Initially looking at him, y'all killed him. But y'all was like, damn, that's a bop. Shake it like a Polaroid. But y'all was singing his songs. Y'all know, but y'all killed him. Right? Y'all killed James Brown and his hairstyles. Y'all killed him. Y'all killed Verdine White. You remember during the pandemic when they did the verses? Affion Crockett, and Spice Adams did the Verdine and Ron Isley joint. It was hilarious. But y'all killed Verdine from Earth, Wind, and Fire. World famous guitar player. Going crazy. Y'all killed Verdine during the pandemic. What is this dude with this perm? He been rocking that. But you know who y'all showed grace to? Chris Brown, Miguel, Snoop D.O. Double, Prince, DJ Quick, and last but not least, rest in peace, Michael Jackson. Y'all ran bell for them, but y'all killed Jimmy, Jock, Dre, James Brown, Verdine White. Let me read this thing again. Colorism, discrimination within an ethnic group favoring people with lighter skin. I'm not saying that this is why y'all ran those cats bell, but have you thought about it? That we sometimes have our own biases based on colorism within our own group. You know, last pod, I told you guys I had a problem with the wording of the media blitz for the Super Bowl, stating that Usher will be headlining the halftime show during the Super Bowl. Something I couldn't put my finger on it, but it didn't read right to me. And I was thinking to myself, what's going on? And then as the week progressed, I started to see signs of why I felt that way. This is all speculative, but I'm just going to say it. there's been a trend and an uptick in NFL viewership over the past couple of weeks. Let me see if I can put it on a level where you guys can understand. Travis Kelce. Let's even go back further than that. The NFL lost one of the greatest marketers that self-marketed himself. So much where he left a team where he got a couple of chips, went down south to Tampa. Shout out to Sheldon Quarles, my homeboy, director of football operations at Tampa. What up, Sheldon? Director of football operations. What up, Sheldon? Sheldon Quarles, do your thing, my man. Win, brother, win. Beautiful family. That's my guy. But went down to Tampa and destroyed my Falcons that were in our division. And I'm sad to say, man, let me take a sip. I'm getting triggered talking. But dusted us when he was in New England. Then went down to Tampa and dusted us again. Who am I talking about? Tom Brady. Right? He's no longer in the NFL, but Tom Brady's go-to was one of the best tight ends that's ever played the game. One of the best tight ends that ever played the game. Gronkowski. Neither one of them are playing anymore. And allegedly, Tom Brady has M's stacked on top of his broadcasting career that has yet to start. Remember him and his wife split up? Heard it was amicable, but I heard it was kind of messy. Y'all remember Tom lost all that weight. Y'all saw the man. He was married to football. I would say he was cheating on his wife with football. That's how invested he was with the craft. But they're no longer in the NFL anymore. So maybe there was a tank. And what happened? Pat Mahomes. Travis Kelce. These are guys. This is all speculative, okay? Guys, don't listen to me, but listen to me. Pat Mahomes, ballin'. Big Red, coach, Kansas City Chiefs, ballin'. Arrowhead, tough place to play. It's a football city. Barbecue. Football city. Barbecue. Right? But you got Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends, QB to tight end. We've seen this before with Belichick, Big Red, Foxborough, Arrowhead, marketing, ding. And I should just put a light bulb right over my head. For you old school folks, you know, if you saw a light bulb over the head, that means you had a bright idea. All right. Remember, the string over the finger means you have a reminder. Old school stuff. Hey, so the NFL, I'm speculating, goes, hey, we can use Pat Mahomes. And his brother's going crazy on social media right now, by the way. Millions and millions of followers. All this guy. Y'all remember at the Super Bowl, he was like Puffy in the videos. Y'all do your thing. Win, family, win. I ain't mad at y'all. I ain't hating. I'm not a hater. But it's funny. It's quite funny. I don't know if it's clout, if this guy's just making moves like that. The way people move in the social media space today is beyond me. But anyway, let me keep rolling. Travis Kelce. And I don't know why this became our business, but he broke up with a dime piece. Travis, I ain't know you was rocking like that. You had you had a something. And I don't know why that became my business, but I saw. And I don't know why this became narrative, but I saw that was your ex, right? And you got down like that. Then all of a sudden, you and Taylor Swift up in the tree, KISSING, allegedly, or rumor had it that you guys were dating. Oh, lo and behold, she shows up at Arrowhead. Lights, camera, action. So much. I'm not saying it disrupted primetime football. Shout out to Prime, Coach Prime. but it disrupted primetime football, but yet the Swifties follow Taylor Swift. No, they follow her. Maybe you guys don't hear me. They follow her. So after it was reported that Taylor Swift is, we can see the humanized side of her, not the performer Taylor Swift. We can see the human side of her, having a hot dog and a beer, and God forbid, Coke and apple pie, the American way, at a football game for a winning team, with a winning quarterback, and a soon-to-be Hall of Famer tight end, that being Travis Kelce. He's on the market. So rumor has it that you guys are dating. Ooh. And let me just say this about Travis Kelce, just in case you guys didn't know. He's like the white Shaquille O'Neal of marketing. This dude is on every commercial. Every commercial. Win, my man, win. I ain't mad at you. I'm not a hater. But it's quite obvious that these two conglomerates can come together and we can manufacture non-AI, a real human couple, and watch the fireworks go off. Pop, 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 pop. Travis pop. Taylor pop. Show her in the booth again. Ooh, hey girl, they're on Twitter going crazy. Taylor Swift is at the Kansas City Chiefs game. And did you know she was dating Travis Kelce? Oh my gosh. The Swifties are going crazy. APB Taylor's at the Kansas City stadium. Matter of fact, let's go to the stadium so we can see her drive off. They said they went nuts. The Swifties was outside the stadium waiting with Sharpies, magic markers, and pens and sign books. But not only that, social media travels faster than your local news. People got on social media and said Taylor Swift is at the game. OMGEE. Tune in. She's got on jorts. They said the sale of jorts went up crazy. Jeans shorts. Okay, so the first time, let's just call it for what it is. It was strategy, right? Taylor Swift was in the booth with Travis Kelce, mother. And what an American story. Travis and his brother are athletes. Travis' mother is in the booth, and guess who's standing by her side? Oh, he caught a touchdown. Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. So where am I going? I started with Usher, didn't I? I started with Ursh. But I'm trying to draw a picture, and I'm being dramatic for the dramatic effect. So where am I going? Last pod, I said that Rock Nation, has partnered with the NFL. When I mention The Rock, I'm talking about The Rock, the Rock. That being Hove, Jay Hoffa, H to the Izzo, Jay-Z, Rock Nation, Roger Goodell, Rock Nation, NFL. Damn, that rhymed, didn't it? Man, I'm so whack. But the partnership there. Then we go, oh my. We bring in Usher. Rihanna got top views last Super Bowl. All-time historic views. So that brings me back to what I'm doing with this long, drawn-out dramatic effect. I know y'all like, Don, would you please come on? Damn. No, let me do it my way. What I say goes. You see what I did there? And that was off the top. But Usher. It was deemed and written across media blitzes that Usher will be headlining. Let me give you an example of headlining. Bernie Mac pretty much was the headliner or the anchor for the Kings of Comedy. Steve Harvey was not one of the introduced comedians in the Kings of Comedy. Steve Harvey, and I'm praying for you, brother, Steve Harvey was the MC. He introduced DL. Say it. Burn. Burn was the headliner, if you will, but they were called kings, plural, of comedy. Usher is supposed to be the headliner of the Super Bowl. Could this be the machine working to do something crazy? And I'm just going out on a limb here. Don't listen to me, but listen. Watch this. These are my confessions. I'm not a comedian, y'all. But where I'm going with this. What if months leading up to the Super Bowl, they decide to pivot and not kick Usher out? Now, he's earned this. We got a seat at the table with Roger Goodell, right? So let's just say this is lamented. This is done, right? This is done. Like stick a fork in it. Usher, go ahead and practice. You got this. But what if announcement comes on Thanksgiving, where usually the Detroit line? It's going to be interesting this year because Detroit is balling. Shout out to Detroit. I got family in the D. What up, though? But what if an announcement is made Thanksgiving that Taylor Swift will be performing with Usher during the halftime? The Swifties, they're gonna go take out loans on their houses. They're gonna get refis like crazy. They're going to Title Max. Loans are us. They're gonna get tickets to this daggum Super Bowl. Now, when I checked the website the other day, because I was actually thinking about going to the Super Bowl, a lot of the tickets are sold out that would fit my criteria for going to a game. I ain't trying to sit up there with them drunk clowns. So get on another list. But I've drawn a wild conclusion. But I will say this. It was something that I was thinking about when it comes to irony and why the headlines read like they did. Taylor Swift has caused an uptick in the NFL. The viewership has went bananas since the NFL has been broadcasting in London. Also, the viewership on Sunday is going crazy. Now, let me put it in perspective so you guys can understand. Right now, you're starting to get every facet of sports going on at one time. The NFL wants to win. They haven't been winning since Colin Kaepernick. You got the Olympics going on. You got hockey going on. You got baseball playoffs going on. You got basketball. You got WNBA finals going on. You got UFC. You got wrestling going on. You got premier boxing that's going on right now. You got track and field that's going on. College football is going crazy right now. The NFL is trying to win. I ain't mad at it. Roger Goodell doesn't have the best reputation, if you ask me. If you ask me. So are these desperate measures? Or is this a way for the NFL to pivot and say, we're making waves? And right now, the NFL is promoting two things. Which one have you heard more of? The NFL is doing a campaign right now to end racism, but it's also doing crucial catch. Which one have you heard more of? NFL does a campaign every year talking about end racism. But I think I heard more. I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to stay on the air. But it deals with a certain owner and his rollout. But I'm trying to stay on the air respectfully. But the NFL has a campaign for ending racism. Out of the big three letters for NFL, National Football League, You'll see some campaigns about end racism. That's in the end zone. That's it. You know, Arsenio Hall had a saying that went, things to make you go, But the Usher thing is one that makes me go, I pray that there's no Fugazi and Usher get his. Let me get out of here. But I have to ask this, because I've been hinting at it in certain pods. But in your day-to-day lives at work, how's it going with your inclusion, diversity, and equity? What does it look like to you on a daily basis? Right? I'm not predicting this, but I am saying we are on the cusp of some foolishness. And will this be a situation where we have to have more days of conversations with our CEOs, with our VPs and our C-suites to say that there's inclusion, diversity, and equity, and that there are seats at the table? Hence the Denny's situation. They hired an African-American sister to be over the IDE department, but yet they're cutting the IDEs of the Fortune 500s left and right. How's that going in your day-to-day lives? It's fall, y'all. Things are starting to look spooky. And I do have to ask another thing. Are you guys out in these cinemas? Are y'all saving the cinemas? It's just my begging and my asking. I believe in going out for entertainment, whether it be live or whether it be some type of recording or some sort of entertainment source. Movies being one that I just love to do. And I go see good, bad, and indifferent movies. Right? I don't always have to go see a blockbuster. I just enjoy the event of going to the movies, right? The human interaction with maybe a ticket taker. And now that you don't have to have physical tickets, you have digital tickets. Just that going into the theater, sitting in a seat. Yes, I take my Clorox wipes. Yes, I do still wear masks in some settings where there's a packed theater. But nonetheless, I enjoy the feeling. I can do this at home on my big screen, on my theater. Yes, I can do all of these things, but I will say there's nothing like going to the cinema, going to a show, like a Broadway show, or seeing live entertainment. Don't sit in the house and stream all day. Get out. Hey guys, it's been an interesting, tough, but yet important pod today. And I did try to switch gears and shed a little light about my logic and my thought process around the Super Bowl. But stay tuned. I'm sure there's more to unfold with this. I can't wait for it to be revealed because it's something. I mean, we're this close. But nonetheless, I thank you guys for joining. Yet again, we're in the double digits. We're rolling. But you guys know what it is. We're in the age of cancel culture, judged by the court of public opinion. You're seeing that. But if I said something today, right, that was a little out of pocket, a little sideways, right? I used my tone and tenor today, but it was done with purpose. If I dropped a noun, an adjective, a pronoun, or even something that could have made you feel uncomfortable, please don't hold me to it. You guys know what it is. I'm just here to pod. Until we meet again, guys.